So, let's talk about myths. I loved myths growing up, and I still do. I loved reading about them, I loved listening to them, I loved watching movies about them, playing video games based on them. These things are everywhere in our culture. Even the most famous English writer of all time, William Shakespeare, based a lot of his plays on myths, or at least, referenced them a lot. Myths are stories that people tell to explain things, usually involving gods or mythical creatures of some kind. Myths answer questions like, where did the world come from? How will the world end? Why are we here? Just how close to the sun can I fly with wax wings? Does my heart weigh more than a feather? Why are so many strangers in broad-brimmed hats knocking on my door? Why is my unmarried daughter suddenly pregnant? Just about every culture has had their myths. From the ancient Greeks that Western civilization is so obsessed with, to the Norse, ancient Egypt, ancient Mesopotamia, India, Japan until about a century ago, China, Native Americans, African tribes. Everyone has had these myths, these ways to explain the unexplainable. Nowadays, we turn to science to explain things. But back in the day, it was religion and the myths that they told that people turned to in order to explain the mysteries, big and small, of their existence. This isn't to say that those cultures didn't have science. After all, pretty much all the science in the Western world is based on the work that the Greeks did thousands of years ago. The thing about it is that these civilizations, they just didn't have all the fancy equipment or all the years of experience and knowledge accumulated that we do now. Another issue was that they just didn't have the same level of education widespread to all of the people. It was really a rarefied thing in most cultures at those times that myths were being told to really have a lot of knowledge beyond things like how to till the earth, how to make horseshoes, how to turn silver into a nice little pot. So by telling each other these stories, they were able to both inform and entertain, which made life just a little bit more bearable in a time before indoor plumbing. And telling stories was exactly what they were doing. Just like education wasn't all that widespread or common, neither was literacy, the ability to read and write. So myths were told orally. They weren't written down, pre-planned, edited a dozen times, and then consumed at leisure. People were walking around, talking to each other, asking each other questions, telling stories for fun and to answer questions like, where do babies come from? And somebody's put on the spot. They're thinking to themselves, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. A stork brings them! Yeah. Who even buys that? But most of these stories, then, were made up on the spot, at least in their initial telling. And the great thing about oral traditions is that these stories, they expand, they grow, and they change over time. They gain new details. The details get altered a little bit based on not only the person telling the story, but also the audience that they're telling the story to. So the story will grow and grow. So a simple story about how the sun god hid in a cave to explain something like maybe an eclipse for instance, gets not only an elaborate backstory about how Susano'o, if I'm saying that right, pissed off Amaterasu when she went and hid in a cave, but also gets a whole thing about how a bunch of gods get together outside the cave and try to figure out, how are we going to get her out of here? Pro tip: if your friend decides to hide in a cave, throw a party. Apparently that works. So as these stories continue to spread and grow in popularity, the characters themselves, the gods, also grow in popularity. And so you get people requesting stories specifically about a particular god or group of gods. And that's how you get, a lot of these stories that don't explain natural phenomena, like Loki and Thor and Jotunheim, or Hercules in like half of his stories. And the thing is, of course, religion pops up around these things. I mean, if you're some poor, illiterate, uneducated peasant growing rice in your rice paddy and depending on that crop of rice to keep you alive, and all the people you know are talking about something, some god that controls the yield of rice crops, you're gonna wanna probably do at least a little something to make that person happy, just on the off chance that it helps in some way. And then from there, belief grows, faith spreads, more and more people start believing. The more people believe, the more other people start believing. Before you know it, you've got a full-blown religion, which of course has to have leaders, and now you've got priests walking around making up their own stories. And before you know it, it's so popular that the Romans steal it and rename everybody, because Latin. So let's imagine how one of these stories comes into being. On the one hand, you might have, say, a child with a question. So he goes and asks a priest, where do spiders come from? Spiders? Yes. Spiders. Yeah. Why did the gods make something weird like that? Of all the Zeus darned things to ask. As a punishment. For what? Well, because a woman made them mad. A long time ago. Oh no. Made them mad? Yes. Oh, no. How? I know where this is going. Well, let me tell you the story. Once upon a time, there was a woman. What was her name? Her name? Something spidery. Spider lady? Arachnid chick? Arachne? Arachne. Oh, like arachnid. That must be where that comes from. Yep, totally. Arachnids are named for Arachne, who I didn't just make up, and not the other way around. Nope. Okay. So Arachne liked to... what do spiders do? Eat flies? No. Climb walls? No. Spin webs? No. But that is kind of like weaving. She likes to weave. In fact, she was famous for it. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, she thought she was so good, she was a better weaver than the gods. Oh no. Right. So she challenged... Don't say her name. I know you're her priest, but it makes no sense. She's the goddess of war and wisdom, not the goddess of arts and crafts. Whatever you do, just don't say Athena. Darn it. Athena, goddess of arts and crafts. I guess it's canon now. Oh, Zeus. Please don't spite me. To a competition. Oh, wow. Well, Athena accepted, because pride, and they each wove a tapestry. What did they weave? You're killing me here, kid. Well, Athena, because she was annoyed at Arachne and wanted to show her up, wove scenes where mortals challenged the gods and got punished. Oh, I'm going to Tartarus. Arachne, on the other hand, wove scenes of the gods' impropriety. Definitely Tartarus. Just don't go into detail. Scenes like Zeus seducing women as various animals and metaphysical phenomena. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And Ares in bed with Aphrodite while her husband worked at the forge. Directly to Tartarus. I don't understand. Why were they in bed? Ask your parents. Really? Anyway, Athena got mad and tore up Arachne's tapestry and hit her in the head with her shuttle. So Arachne got scared and got a noose and... What's a noose? You got carried away and forgot you're talking to a kid. Huh. It's a rope? Where do spiders come in? Spiders? Yeah. How does this make spiders a thing? Oh, right. Well, Athena saw Arachne with the rope and decided that Arachne hadn't been punished enough. That's kind of intense. Yeah. Anyway, the rope gave her an idea, and she turned Arachne into a spider, and that's where all spiders come from. Wow. And that's how myths are born. Kind of. Not really. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to hit the subscribe button if you liked the video, or even if you didn't. Bye.